Welcome to the 37th Annual Tulsa Hall of Fame, honoring civic and business leaders, philanthropists, educators, artists, and community volunteers, and their impact on Tulsa. Please welcome your host for this evening, author, speaker, and Tulsa Hall of Fame inductee, Clifton Talbert.
It's a delight to be here. And the reason it's a delight to be here is that we can be in the midst of community. That's one of the greatest gifts that one human can give another, is to be in community. It's a wonderful place to be. I don't know if you could hear yourselves when you were all talking, everyone talking at the same time. Community has a sound that is rather unique, different from any other. Your voice melds in with the voice of the one sitting beside you. The voice melds in with the one sitting way down the street from you. But at the same time, the voice is a sound of acceptance. It's a sound of at the right place at the right time, and I'm with the right people. Community is absolutely incredible. And tonight we have the opportunity to really clearly understand that community is, as Heraclitus said more than 5,000 years ago, that we were made for community. That's the purpose of our human journey, is to clearly understand why we are here and what we can accomplish while we're on this journey. Tonight, we'll have an incredible opportunity to look at community from the perspective of several of our Tulsa citizens, people that we know who have given of their time, their talent, and given of their wherewithal to be part of this great city that we call home. Tonight we celebrate them, but what do we really celebrate? We celebrate their laughter, we celebrate their generosity, we celebrate their heart, we celebrate the things that are real and consistent and continuous. We celebrate life. That's the great gift we have. Every morning we wake up, we embrace another miracle. It's absolutely wonderful. And tonight, we will have daughters introducing mothers. We will have sons introducing mothers. We will have sons remembering fathers. It is more than just recognition for being inducted into the Tulsa Hall of Fame. It gives us an opportunity to understand what our roles are, what we can accomplish, and who we are. It's been over 40 years now, since this, clearly almost 40 years, since we started this journey called inducting into the Tulsa Hall of Fame. And hopefully we'll have 40 or 50 more. Because every time we do this, we bring another Tulsan out, and that Tulsan stands before us, and we get a clear opportunity to see, I can do that. I want to be like that. I want to build a good community. I want to understand what is required of me in order to make it happen. Well, we'll hear that tonight as we celebrate these incredible men and women who have given up their talent, time, and treasury for the benefit of all of us. And what can we do tomorrow? When tomorrow comes, we can tell ourselves, 2024 will be here eventually, and I got a sneaking suspicion that the Tulsa Hall of Fame, the Tulsa Historical Society and Museum will do this again. And maybe I can be that person. Maybe my son or my daughter will have the chance to introduce me to these incredible people that are filling the seats here tonight. Community is one of the most important gifts that we can give each other. And when we give each other community, we extend life, laughter, and friendship. Enjoy tonight. Take in every single word that is being said. Enjoy it all. And remember, they have done their good deeds for us. So Winston Churchill said, we work to make a living, but when we give, we make a life. Have a good evening. We're not over yet, but this is the good part. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, J. Nicole Anthony Wilson.
Good evening, everyone. When your mom is CEO, you get interrupted a lot when you're out to dinner, but you also see her hard work every day to improve lives. We love Chief Wilma Mankiller, who said, "Leaders are encouraged to remember 7 generations in the past and consider 7 generations in the future." Mom never set out to make history. She only wants to clear the way for the next generation and make each of our histories better. That's why she fights for justice. She's long focused on equal pay for equal work. During her time with Williams with Steve Malcolm, Michael Johnson, and Robin Ewing, the company was among Tulsa's first to add domestic partner benefits and sexual orientation to the non-discrimination policy, proving that others don't lose when someone gains equal rights. Growing up, I thought every family spent weekends marching in civil rights parades or knocking doors for candidates between soccer games. In fact, I remember doing that for Mayor Kathy Taylor, and now I have the honor to work with her at TU, and my mom calls that a God wink. Later this month, Mom is being inducted into OSU's Tulsa Diversity Hall of Fame for taking risks on behalf of others. She won't just show someone the door to opportunity. She'll kick it in, probably wearing the most stylish shoes. She shares our community's stories, lifting up a single mom or a teenager experiencing homelessness, always grounded in compassion and the belief that tomorrow can be better than today, but also that we each have a role to make it so. And yes, she will ask you for a donation. Since 2018, as CEO of the United Way, they have raised more than $128.3 million. Give it up. But if you ask her about that astounding amount, she'll talk about her hardworking team, the 9,000 United Way volunteers, and the 80-year-old retired TPS bus driver who writes a check every year in memory of those kids helped by the United Way. She'll remind you that we all need help sometimes. She and my dad openly share our own family's journey with alcoholism so others can heal. She'll do this with a great sense of fun. Some families might be concerned to see a social media post of their mom doing the perfect cheer from Saturday Night Live, posing with her tongue out as a heavy metal rocker, or flying down the BMX hills in too small of a bike helmet. But not us, because she believes values don't amount to much if they aren't backed up with authentic action. That meant growing up, we would read a book together by Hannibal Johnson to learn about the Tulsa Race Massacre. It meant extra kids living in our already full house. She would ask me, how could his life be different if he had the same support that you had? Our extra brother Eduardo, now an engineer, would tell you he could do a lot. We all need help sometimes. And my mom isn't perfect. Her turn-off switch is completely broken. She has an exhausting number of ideas and reluctantly goes to bed each night, thinking of all the work she has yet to do. But no matter what, she'll be learning and reading, usually 3, 4, 5 books a month. She will always spend time with family, especially her 4 grandchildren who call her Nami. And when I see her with them, I know she is thinking about how to make their future better. But just so we're all clear, I am still her baby and will always be. You may have noticed my mom can't dance. My dad will say, "Follow my lead," and she'll say, "I don't hear the same beat you do." But she does hear a different song. She prefers dance steps that make time for truly seeing one another in lyrics that give us hope. And really, she doesn't have time to dance anyways because she sees a better future and wants us all to go there with her. Please welcome my beautiful best friend, my inspiration, and my rock, Alison Anthony, into the Tulsa Hall of Fame.
Thank you all, and thank you, Jay. She is such a remarkable talent, and I'm wearing her earring creations tonight. You can find those on jaybirdbeadwork.com. Thank you, Tulsa Historical Society, and congratulations to all tonight's amazing honorees. I know the next generation of talent gives us all so much optimism in our lives. And so to our 5 kids and their partners, your fearless approach to life, whether you are creating art or raising our grandchildren, creating so much hope with the mental health issues that we face, and educating our youth, you are awe-inspiring to me, all of you. And Chelsea, as tonight we honor history, you are our oldest. And I thank you for the work you're doing to tell the stories and the truth of the Native boarding schools for healing. Thank you so much. Because we cannot, yes. We cannot improve the future without illuminating the past. And thankfully, my parents instilled such a love of being curious and seeking facts. Dad, you taught us to go look it up. You had a giant, about the size of this podium, dictionary in the corner of our living room and a set of encyclopedias. And so that was what we did. We looked it up. And my mom, I thank you so much for taking me and dropping me off at the Enid Public Library at about 4th grade on, and you let me read whatever I want. You trusted me with uncensored exploration. That's right. And you may have been trying to get me out of your hair. I was a lot. I loved biographies, and I recognized that with only a few exceptions, there were very few who were either all good or all evil. And I learned to ask, who's telling the story and why are they telling it? I understood that we could love our country and still acknowledge its historic wrongs. Yes. I learned that saying yes to service at the heart of making our community better and more joyful. I learned that from watching my Aunt Linda and Uncle Calvin Anthony and their years of dedicated service to OSU. I watched that with my Nani, who may have given away more food from our family grocery store than she sold. And from the late Michael Johnson, who's previously been honored in this room. He mentored so many of us so generously that hundreds of us thought we were the only one. I learn every day from our heroic nonprofit partners, our volunteer leaders, our staff at the United Way. Thank you, Board Chair Karen Keith, and our campaign chairs, Carl Newmeyer and Kathy Taylor, right now courageously raising $28.3 million. Yes. They won't ask you for money tonight, but watch out, they might call you tomorrow. I can work toward bold goals with confidence because I am surrounded by incredible leaders, like so many of you in this room, by the love of my family, including my sister Amy here tonight, my best friend Heidi. And I know we would want our younger selves to know that life will be imperfect in all the best ways. Mark Wilson, you are the perfect traveling companion. I love you. In 2001, I wrote on an airplane napkin, "Do the people and causes most important to me know that they are? I only pray that each of you will always be able to say yes. Thank you."
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, David Charney.
During my childhood, evening meals for our family at our dining room table were very important to my mom and dad. And despite their busy lives, they prioritized these dinner-time gatherings. However, it was not the food on the table, but rather the conversations around the table that tell an important story. My parents consistently initiated dinner discussions that were permeated with conversations about public policy, current events, and meaningful issues of the day. Community engagement and helping to repair and improve the world, that wasn't just a hobby for them, it was part of their souls. They felt a solemn duty, a faith-based obligation to help make this world a better place, and they made a point to talk about it with their children literally all the time. We could feel their conviction around that dining room table, and we could see their conviction through their active community engagement and their advocacy efforts to help those in need. A cornerstone of our Jewish faith is embedded in the biblical concept of justice or righteousness. We are taught through the words of the prophet Micah that we must do justice and actively pursue fairness for all. Simply hoping or thinking and praying for justice and fairness, it's important, but it's not enough. We used to joke with my father about his clients at his law firm. They mostly consisted of very good folks with very large problems and real tiny checkbooks. But he didn't care that much about the money. If his countless, and I mean countless, indigent clients, or say the Tulsa Tech School Board, needed his advocacy and his strong oratory skills, and he had some strong oratory skills, he was on it, regardless of compensation. In his mind, he was simply fulfilling an obligation to pursue justice. Now, my mother's accomplishments, in contrast to my dad's, were the result of very strong diplomatic skills and consensus building. She was trusted by various communities as being a true bridge builder with no real political agenda other than the pursuit of equal opportunity and justice for all. The causes she championed weren't viewed back then as right versus left or liberal versus conservative. Both religious leaders and political leaders viewed her bold efforts, and she had some bold ones, as nothing more than the pursuit of goodness and righteousness. For example, I remember one night at the ORU campus, my mother convened a large, lovely interfaith conversation where she was seated on the stage right between Oral Roberts on one side and Rabbi Arthur Kahn, the longtime rabbi of our synagogue at B'nai Emunah, on the other side, right between them, leading a conversation. Similarly, there is a wonderful newspaper photo from over 50 years ago where my mother is situated between two very young state legislators, a rising Republican, Jim Inhofe, and a rising Democrat named Roger Randall. At my mother's prompting, these two were collaborating together on a bipartisan effort to gather some state funds to help provide television sets for child care centers around Tulsa. My mom was leading the Tulsa launch of this brand new educational TV series called Sesame Street. The goal was to help thousands of under-resourced young children gain some basic alphabet and numerical skills so they might be better equipped to start school on par with other children. But in closing, I want you to know that of all my mother's accomplishments, I'm most proud of the trust she earned across faith boundaries, across racial boundaries, and across political boundaries. She helped people understand there is no one single correct view or faith or perspective. She reminded leaders that hatred and intolerance for the other has no place in Tulsa. The best way for Tulsa, the best way for Tulsa to honor her legacy is to remind any fear-mongering leader who is trying to either peddle hatred or to force upon us a one-size-fits-all approach to governing, that such an approach is not the Tulsa way. This historical society venerates love and respect for the other, and it promotes a peaceful coexistence among the diverse inhabitants of our city. And my family is forever thankful to this society for honoring a woman and a man tonight who centered their lives and their careers around those themes. With much love and admiration, I present to you my mom, Yolanda Charney.
Thank you, sweetheart. Life is full of surprises. This Tulsa Historical Society honor is certainly one of the pleasant and totally unexpected ones. During my many decades of volunteer work and subsequent professional life, I have been pleased to receive accolades, but it has always been from an organization or an institution with which I had been working. This lovely honor is different. It is special because it includes the name and memory of my late husband of 60 years. It has been 7 years and 9 days since he entered eternity, but I feel he's here tonight. Were he truly here, however, he would be delivering this message, for he was a true public speaker of the family. During our recent high holiday observances of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, I have reflected on the lives of my parents, Oscar and Angelina Velarde, and the impact they had on me and my 3 younger siblings. From my mom, I received the gift of compassion and her strong faith in God. Whenever we would see a beggar on the street, she would say, "Ay, pobrecito," which means, "Oh, that poor thing." It was never, "That man needs to get a job," or pull himself up by his bootstraps. My father taught me to love and respect myself, to take pride in my Mexican heritage, and love his adopted country. He was a hard-working visionary who would see a bare Texas mountain and visualize a home for his family. He was a strong disciplinarian and a strong believer in education for his 4 children. I delight in seeing some of his good qualities in my 2 sons, Elliot and David Charney. And now, a great big thank you to the board and staff of the Tulsa Historical Society. Mil gracias, toda rabah, for bestowing on Bud and me this wonderful honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mayor G.T. Bynum.
It is a great honor for me to be able to introduce Sarah and John Graves as the new inductees into the Tulsa Hall of Fame. In honoring Sarah and John, I think it's important to remember why we have the Tulsa Hall of Fame at all. Of course, it serves to honor those who have helped make our city better, but that pretty much ends tonight. For all of history moving forward, the purpose of these honors is to hold up for future Tulsans that these lives represent what we aspire to as a city. So I want to thank the Hall of Fame for holding up the lives that Sarah and John have led, because they represent the best of Tulsa. I love Sarah and John for the people that they are. They are kind, selfless people who are as humble as they are powerful. They are devoted parents and joyful grandparents. They are tremendous mentors and loyal friends. And I admire Sarah and John for what they do. They are always looking for ways that they can help other people. They have the greatest respect for the professionals who dedicate their careers to working in Tulsa's nonprofit community, and they seek ways to support those professionals in the work that they do. I think Sarah and John probably have that mindset because they both come from a background in community service. John, first as a Tulsa police officer, and Sarah with Family and Children's Services. From that, they built a business over time, and as its success grew, so did their ability to give back to our community. But in doing so, much of what they do for Tulsa is done quietly and often anonymously. They give to help others, not for external validation. So I want to share one quick story with you to give you an example of this phenomenon. In my very first month as mayor, a permission request came across my desk for a nonprofit to clean and restore the headstones of military service veterans in one of our city cemeteries. This nonprofit, the Shining Honor Project, employs adults with developmental challenges to do the work. The restored headstones are amazing. Their care reflects the esteem that our community places on the service of our veterans, and the work creates jobs for our neighbors with developmental challenges. It is an incredible program. And in doing my due diligence about this request, I discovered that the Shining Honor Project was funded by Sarah and John. As their friend, they had never once bragged about this to me. If you go to the website of the Shining Honor Project today, you will see their names nowhere. But you will find lots of helpful links to the wonderful organizations that they work with. That's classic Sarah and John Graves, facilitating remarkable work, but wanting no credit for it whatsoever. Through their steadfast support and leadership of organizations like Family and Children's Services, the Salvation Army, the Boy Scouts of America, and others, there are quite literally hundreds of thousands of our neighbors here in Tulsa who have better lives today because of Sarah and John. For the person experiencing a mental health crisis, for our neighbor experiencing homelessness, for the Tulsans seeking the dignity of employment, for the young person learning about self-reliance, for all these and thousands more in our community, Sarah and John have been the friends that they needed and often didn't even know that they had. I want to thank Sarah and John for agreeing to be honored in this way. I know that they hate having the spotlight shined on them. And I'm confident that they only agreed to this tonight because they know that this event benefits the important work of the Tulsa Historical Society and Museum. They are leading the kinds of lives that I want to point towards young Tulsans and say, be like them. I already do that with my own kids. But now moving forward, we can do that for our whole community. Thanks to the Tulsa Hall of Fame. So please join me in welcoming your newest inductees into the Tulsa Hall of Fame, Sarah and John Graves.
He's something. I'm going to echo my friend Clifton's description of tonight. This is a real delight to be here. And like Clifton, I can't see anybody anyway. Allison, Clifton, Michelle, you guys will all verify that Sarah has given me permission or instruction to speak in her behalf. So that is a rare opportunity. So I'm going to run with it. Okay. First off, I'd really like to give my heartfelt thanks to GT for that very kind and generous introduction. Okay, you're smart people, because now I'd like to thank GT and Susan for the sacrifices, service, and leadership they have given our city. Sarah and I are convinced that Tulsa is better off because of the Bynums. So, thank you. Thanks to our friends and family members who are able to be here tonight, and in particular, two people I want to recognize. One of our two wonderful daughter-in-laws is celebrating her birthday tonight, Abby Graves, who will never forgive me for embarrassing her, and my smarter older brother, Michael, who's over here, who's been a resource and a support for me for 70 years. October is a very fun-filled month. It begins with our Congress reaching a budget deal, kinda. This Hall of Fame gala, Abby's birthday, the State Fair, Oktoberfest, Halloween. And then there's an unusual day that we either celebrate or forget about. And I think most of you in the room know what I'm talking about. And when I give you the prompt, I'd like for you to please gleefully respond as loud as you can. Boomer! Is that good?
Crowd participation, that's great.
Thank you, yeah. Yeah, I got it going here. Okay, so. Well, I'm talking. I can't help that. I was born in Norman, Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm not a poser. It's on my birth certificate, Norman, Oklahoma. Sarah was born in Madison, Wisconsin. It's an interesting story, but exceeds the time limit for me to tell you how we met. But I will say that as an infant in Norman, I was taken home from the hospital to a Quonset hut, which is where my young family, or my parents' young family, lived. And the Quonset huts had been erected to house the returning GIs who were attending the university. My older brother, for years, would tell me that I needed to appreciate the opulence of a tin can home because he was born in a manger. He was my big brother. I had no reason to doubt that whatsoever. Well, Southern Hills has played a pivotal role in my life. And that was when in 1970, not because I'm a member, we've never been members. We're usually not allowed in, but, and we did learn, even in the fact that Christy Garrett is one of my relatives, who's the manager here tonight, we still have to pay for hard liquor. Wine and beer are complimentary tonight. But someone from Southern Hills decided to not file criminal trespass charges against me and two of my friends from TU. We had taken an old parachute, 250 feet of aircraft cable, and a 1968 Buick Electra, went to the west side of the Southern Hills estate where there was a polo field, skeet field, trap range, and a lot of open space, and we tied that parachute to the aircraft cable, which was tied to the Electra, and would drive up and down the polo field, parasailing in January of 1973, I was the third one. Chuck and Scott did really well. I was the third one, and I'm up about 150 feet above Lewis, and I hear sirens. And this may be where I got my interest in law enforcement, but it was not just police cars. There was a fire truck also. There was now a traffic jam at 61st and Lewis because of the stopped cars pointing up at this idiot. Right when the wind came up, well, if you've ever been parasailing, you know all it takes to keep you in the air is movement of wind. So I was up in the air for about 15 minutes while the police officers had my friends in their car getting all the information they needed to take us to jail. Here comes a Southern Hills manager down the hill on his little golf cart. He's all bundled up. He gets in the police car. The wind finally dies down. I come down. They haul me into the police car. My lips, this is January, my lips were frozen. I couldn't even pronounce my name. The officer explained to the manager, the Southern Hills guy, here's what's going to happen if you press charges. And the Southern Hills guy thought about it. He thought, nah, these guys they've got enough problems already. So they're obviously idiots. So we're gonna let them skate this time. So that's my indebtedness to Southern Hills. It's a true story. It is a true story. And if the statute of limitations had not expired, you would not be hearing it tonight. 1973 Vietnam was still winding down. It wasn't winding down if you were still in Vietnam. It was still a hell of a conflict. And it was never lost on me that I was able to mess around on the Southern Hills polo field at the age of 21 when fellow high school classmates from Edison had gone over and faced the battlefields in Southeast Asia. I think that's probably what's driven Sarah and our joint interest in doing whatever we can, whenever we can, to help veterans in various different ways, including the Shining Honor Project, which GT was very nice to plug, but that has been a wonderful project to see these men and women or young adults out honoring a veteran, cleaning the headstone, seeing a family member walk up, a survivor, seeing the pride that gives them, knowing that a perfect stranger or a group of strangers honors their deceased loved one. It's a really special experience. And our executive director, Aaron Wombold, is down here, and I'm sure has some time to visit afterwards if anyone would be interested. So the important thing for us, I think, tonight is we recognize and celebrate the 28 million, Allison? 25.8. 25.8, okay. Help us raise that. Just have a really strong, not just a desire, but a wish, a prayer for the United Way campaign to go the way it should. Sarah's mentioned, or GT's mentioned, our involvement with family and children's. There are so many ways that each one of us, either through financially or time commitment, can help our city grow, help the people in our city, help the people that are not nearly as fortunate as we are. There's a commercial running on TV now about reading program. If you can spare an hour a week to go to the public school and, read with the child that doesn't have that opportunity, or very often doesn't have that opportunity at home. So the choices are endless, and I know everyone here helps in their own way, and thank you for that. 18 years ago tonight, I was humbled and honored to be speaking to this group. My father, Jack, had been notified in June of 2005 that he was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Historical Society's Hall of Fame, and sadly passed away a month and a half later. So I accepted that award on his behalf. So obviously this is a special time for us, but getting back to the basics, this is our history that we're trying to keep, we're trying to form, we're trying to influence what happens tomorrow and the next day and the next week. Remember, Tulsa began as Tulasi, then Tulsi Town. Tulsi Town begat Tulsa. Tulsa begat petroleum capital of the world, magic empire, America's most beautiful city. What I would like to do is just stress that we have an obligation to those who've gone before us to do whatever we can to continue to make this a wonderful place to live. The history that we share has been fought for and protected by those who've served in our military. Some faced combat, others did not, but all served. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I'm not going to ask veterans to stand. Lord knows you've stood enough. But if veterans here, if you would stick a hand in the air, I would like for everybody else to stand and please express our deep, deep gratitude for veterans of the United States military. Thank you,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Annabelle Acosta.
Good evening, friends. My name is Annabelle, and I'm the daughter of celebrated Tulsan and entrepreneur, Teresa Knox. Tonight, I'm incredibly excited to preface her attendance here, and I hope what I share today can give insight into what an incredible person she is to me and to this community. Growing up, my mom was the most beautiful girl in the world to me. And as I got older, I became enamored by her suits, her heels, her clicky keyboard, and surprisingly, the idea of a job interview. To the point that at the tender age of 9, I begged her to interview me for a position at Community Care College. Love that. So she gladly complied, and there is indeed video evidence of it on YouTube, if you please to look it up. She has that magic that makes others inspired to be around her, to think of their community and how they can give back. And she showed me that there were no boundaries to your goals as long as you have passion, determination, and especially work ethic. And no one has stronger work ethic than my mom. And if you don't believe me, well, then you probably don't know her. But to prove it to you, when my sister and I were much younger, she was the active CEO of Community Care College. Big job. And she was there so often that she just ended up putting a daycare right next to her office. She never let her job stop her from being an incredible parent and mother. Everything my mom has ever worked on has been because of her own life experiences. She believes education saves life, and she believes in history and the culture of Tulsa. My mom didn't grow up in a wealthy family, and the trajectory of her life before she invested in her education looked dim. But she'll be the first to tell you that education saved her life, leading to her founding community higher ed and giving other Tulsans a chance at an education. When ground broke at Clary Sage, I remember seeing all the bright and excited faces streaming through the doors. This college and the others my mom founded gave low-income students an affordable option. And through all this hubbub, she still found time to be an amazing mom. Across the student salon at Clary Sage, there's a store where you can purchase hair tools and accessories, all of that stuff. One day, she showed me a hot pink bottle of nail polish in the store. "Look at the bottom," she told me, and the tiny sticker at the bottom read Annabelle. I know, right? My mom is obsessed with Tulsa. Really, I mean it, she is. To the point where it makes its way into idle conversation, mainly music related. If you dare mention an artist that has roots in Oklahoma or Tulsa, she will make sure you know. Chet Baker, Woody Guthrie, Leon Russell, just to name a few. And of course, when I became a teenager, it became my #1 job to become jaded with my home city and insisted that everything about it was lame. But she changed my mind. The first time I walked around the historic church studio with her, I was shocked with the amount of knowledge she had. And then I listened to the music, and I fell in love. Once again, she inspired me to see the beauty in my home city, and for that, I am forever and ever grateful. My mother is a woman of remarkable dedication, boundless compassion, and an undying love for her city. She's proven that with hard work, a passion for education, and a love for your roots, you can achieve greatness and inspire others along the way. With that, I'm honored to present to you Teresa Knox. Thank you.
Wasn't that great? Between her and John, I feel like I just need to leave here. What a blessing to have 3 beautiful children. Annabelle, I have Liliana, new son-in-law Matt, I have Ronnie, Shanice, and I have an amazing husband, Ivan Acosta, who's the best. He gets emotional. I'm not going to look at his face. He is the best life partner and business partner I could ever have. So the one thing that I get asked more than anything else is, how in the world did you start a college? And I always laugh because I barely graduated from high school. And Stephanie Layson of Party Pro Rents can attest to that. My best girlfriend all through junior high and high school. But I always answer, thank you, I always answer the exact same way. I always say, only in Tulsa, as if it's the land of Oz. But really what I mean by that is only because of the people of Tulsa. The people of Tulsa are so incredible, and you go back to the early history of our city, I think a lot about someone like Earl P. Harwell. 100 years ago, in 1923, he built the Harweldon Mansion, and he made so much money in the oil and gas industry, and he gave all of his money away. He was the first owner to Kendall College, as we know, is the University of Tulsa today. He was the co-founder of the Presbyterian Church. He funded money for Tulsa Theater, Tulsa Boys Home. It goes on and on and on. And decades later, after Mr. Harwell, in 1972, you have someone like Leon Russell. He was the #1 touring artist in America when he came back to his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and turned this old church at 3rd and Trenton into a world-class recording studio and office to his record label called Shelter Records. He gave so many local musicians an opportunity to work in an amazing recording studio, but also to learn the business side of things. And dozens of musicians in the 70s went on to their own superstardom, and it was because of what he did. And that is what Tulsa has always been about, and I absolutely love that about our city. It's because of people like that and the people of today that someone in my position with absolutely no experience, no money, no attorney, no accountant, bad credit, Gibson of Commerce Bank can attest to that. Early on, I've improved it since then. Have been able to do what I'm able to do. And it's the magic of Tulsa. It's the magic of our citizens. I'm so proud to call Tulsa my home. And It really is a very remarkable place, and each of you contributes so much to the magic of our city. And I have to say a big shout out to Tulsa Historical Society. I mean, you know, the way they gather all of their artifacts and assets, they preserve them, they catalog them, they research them, and they create these really amazing stories, and we can all benefit from that in our community. And I see it in our young people, many of which are here tonight. You know, it's in the fabric of our DNA of what Tulsa is all about. And you know, one thing that I think a lot about, when I first came up with the idea to start a school, I created a little logo, and I went into a local franchise. The company is still here today, called Quick Print. And I went in and I met with the manager, and I showed him what I was thinking. He goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I have an idea for this school." And so he looked at it, and back then it was typesetting. And so he put this business card together for me, and he gifted me a box of 500 business cards. And that is what Tulsa is all about. I mean, we have Jack Allen, we have John Reeves, we have Gip Gibson, we have so many people here. We support each other as Tulsans, and no matter what your circumstances are, I mean, you can make it. We don't need an office or a program that says, you know, this is what you can do. It's just how it is. I'm so grateful for all the people that have supported me over the years, and all of you that support everyone out there. I couldn't do it without you. I say this a lot, but I would never, ever, ever live anywhere else except for Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be with all of these amazing people that have been inducted. There's no place, we're not Oz, but there's no place like Tulsa. So thank you for this amazing evening, and I appreciate each of you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Frank T. Murphy.
Well, I've had to kind of change my stick a little bit. I've never had the honor of meeting John Graves before, but I really appreciate the levity you injected here, because I thought this was a roast. And so I apologize in advance for that, Sanjay, and to everybody else. But at least 150 feet over Lewis is pretty hard to beat, you know. But that was great. So I'll start with a quote from the Duchess of Windsor. "If you accept a dinner invitation, you have a moral obligation to be amusing." I'll try to live up to that spirit, to the spirit of that, since our honoree Sanjay would certainly appreciate that. So, you know, it's interesting. There's a little secret I'll let you in on with Sanjay, and a lot of people get the same impression when they first meet him. I mean, it's going to be weird that I say this, but they think he's a fraud. I mean, I said it tonight. He's a fraud because he's so nice. They're like going, "What's going on?" They got something, like they're looking over their shoulder, like, what's he need from me? What, you know, he's just way overly nice to everybody. And they're like, "Is he faking this deal? What's going on?" I mean, I've heard this a bunch of times, and I'm being sincere about that. And then, of course, once you meet him and you get to know him, you realize that he's sincerely the nicest guy you've ever met in the world, and that's not an exaggeration. I know many of you know him, so that's what a great honor. I also want this introduction to be super personal. I mean, really, really heartfelt, okay? So I did what any 56-and-a-half-year-old would do, is I got on Chat GPT, and I thought, well, what should I say to this guy? I mean, how do I introduce the most infectiously humble, kind, generous, joyful, funny, and at last but not least, goofy? I mean, a lot of you all know Sanjay. He's got this youthful, playful goofiness to him. He doesn't take himself too seriously. It's such a wonderful beacon that we should all look up to and follow. So Anyway, of course, ChatGPT provided the perfect 3-minute introduction. But the problem is, I'm a little bit tight, so I have the free version. I don't have the paid version. And the paid version is a lot better. I don't know if you guys have played around with this toy or not, but it's a lot smarter. And so I said that, one of the things I said is that he had, boundless generosity. And so I said, how do I introduce the most infectiously humble, kind, generous, joyful, funny, goofy person, which I just mentioned a minute ago, but he's got this boundless generosity. And so it thought that he wants to be more generous and meet more people and do more favors for everybody. So I thought, well, this is probably not going to work out too good. But I do have a prop over here. Hold on a second. So I followed what it said. I don't know what else to call it. What do you call ChatGPT? It? I don't know what else to call it. But I followed what it said, and so I got all these cards printed up with his home address, his cell phone number. He's big on social media, so I've got Instagram, Twitters, I got the Facebook, I got everything on here that you guys could possibly imagine. I got a map like they sell in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard for the houses. It's all right here, so anybody that needs anything from him, because he's so generous, I'll have this in the back behind the corner there. By the way, the last thing he needs is people asking him, oh, that was a pretty good job. It looks like one of my grandkids wrote that, but I don't have any grandkids. So anyway, the last thing he needs is people coming to him. He's so generous, just beyond belief. And he really needs to have like Taylor Swift's bodyguards and a gatekeeper. He doesn't need somebody handing out a bunch of cards like this. But he really is a fantastic individual and one of the most generous people I know. So anyway, on a more serious note, what truly makes our friend remarkable is the way he effortlessly connects with people from all walks of life. He has an uncanny knack for making every person in the room that he meets feel valued and cherished. I don't care whether it's a Southern Hills locker room guy, a janitor at his building. It doesn't matter. Everybody is the same. We all put our pants on the same way, and he truly lives that. And if you know him, you've seen that. You've seen that in reality. He's so humble and down to earth, and it's a testament to his upbringing. So, Doc, thank you for your contribution. Lastly, I thought I'd end on a serious note. It's truly been an honor to be your friend, Sanjay. You set such a good example for all of us in so many ways, and most of us sincerely look up to you and strive to be more like you in every way. There's such a dearth of kindness and compassion in the world, and our inductee stands as a shining beacon of hope. He reminds us that the simple act of being kind, of being generous, of sharing a laugh can make our communities and our world a much better place. So as we come together to honor this exceptional individual today, let us not only celebrate his achievements, but also take inspiration from his example. May we all be reminded of the power of his kindness, the beauty of his generosity, and the joy and the sense of humor that he can bring and that we can all bring into others' lives. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with true utmost honor and privilege that I present to you our dear friend, a true Tulsan and Oklahoman, and a new member of the esteemed Tulsa Hall of Fame, Mr. Sanjay Meshri.
Lesson 1, think twice before who you pick to introduce you. No, thank you, Frank. I love it. I love it. I absolutely hate being...
Don't make me hand these out.
I'm lucky for sure. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's so nice to see all these faces and looking around and seeing friends and people that I never thought would ever put on a tuxedo or dress up. So Finnessy, you fooled me again. But seeing all these familiar faces, I'm truly touched that you took the time to attend. Frank, I have nothing but gratitude for you. You've challenged me in a lot of ways with your jokes, and I really appreciate you not telling some of the stories you could have told up here. So that goes for all my friends. Yeah. And I cannot wait to hang out with John Graves. No offense, Sarah, but that's gonna be awesome. I feel like we got another shot at this deal. I appreciate Frank's kind words. I'm extremely grateful to the warm and hospitable Tulsa community. Being born and raised here in Tulsa, I've been blessed with great role models. Learned about the importance of humility and intention, to be specific in your intention. I was born very, very lucky with two hardworking parents. They immigrated from India and were accepted with open arms into Tulsa when they moved here in 1969 from Ithaca, New York. The Tulsa community's been nothing but gracious to us. My parents' focus was always on education and helping others, and that's our focus now too. I know how important it is to do what you can to help others, and Tulsa is always in our hearts for Julie and I. We're both grateful that we were raised here. We're going to do our part and continue to do our part to be part of this community and help it grow and flourish. Now, Julie and I travel more than ever, and we're not here very much, it feels like, but we constantly take phone calls and try to help wherever we can. We know that when we travel, we represent our community wherever we go, and we generally want others to visit Tulsa and have a great experience with Tulsa. And I feel like that's starting to happen more and more, so it's such a great feeling. Tulsa is our hometown, and this induction means so much to me, and it belongs to all of our friends, our family, and those before me. I'm truly honored and touched to receive this award from the Tulsa Historical Society. On behalf of Julie and I and our family, we deeply thank you for this honor. So, thank you.
I've been told that the evening must come to a close. No. I hate to let that happen, but I'm not in control. The laughter was absolutely wonderful. Pack it up, use it, take it with you. The ability to just enjoy, there's nothing wrong with that. Enjoying life together is incredible. It has been a wonderful evening. We've heard from the inductees. You've listened to the unselfishness, because it is unselfishness that drives community. Community is not an automatic something. It's an incredible opportunity that we make, and it's an incredible opportunity that we have to enjoy it. I remember when I spoke before the United States Supreme Court as a guest of Sandra Day O'Connor. She remembered my life on the Mississippi Delta. I thought that would be the only world I would ever know. I started working in the fields of the Delta at 5 years of age. Cotton was around me every single day of my life. But yet there was a lady in my life who understood community, my great aunt. She got up every morning before I did, stood on the front porch in a flannel gown and a headscarf, and pulled the strings on a 60-watt light bulb to let the driver know that I was going to school that day. I had to travel 100 miles round trip every single day for 4 years. I never missed a day. I graduated valedictorian of my class. I'm a member of Phi Beta Kappa today, because community is not just a place. Community is your heart, acting out all that we believe in, all that we want. Sandra Day O'Connor said, after introducing me to her cohorts and 150 of their guests, she said, no one accomplishes anything alone. And I think we have understood that tonight. that no one does. To working together, we can keep the laughter going. Working together, we can keep the dreams going. Working together, we can be our better selves. And as Sir Winston Churchill said, and I quote again, we make money to live, but when we give, we make a life. Have a good life and a good evening. Thank you.